All right, so this is 2-4. I did not include an answer key for this one because I do want you guys to pay attention to the instruction on this one. This is very important to know. You will use this if you're in a house and you're trying to figure out area to cover an item with flooring or to paint a wall, or maybe not necessarily a triangular wall, but it does help. So it will save you money. So here we are, 2-4 homework. And it says find the area of each triangle. So I'm just going to remind you, area of a triangle equals base times height, and this means to times height divided by 2, because it would take this twice to make the area of the base and the height. So we'll keep working on that concept as well. So this one is actually a little cut and dry. They give us a couple extra measurements in a few of these that I wanted to just share with you. So here we go. Base here is 10, and they're doing centimeters. And your area should be your number. So in this case, we'll put X is centimeters squared. Okay, so squared is the number showing a 2. Now, if you just did centimeters, this would be for perimeter. If you did centimeters cubed, cubed, this would be for volume. So this is for perimeter. This is for area. And this is for volume. We're talking specifically about the units. You don't put a 1 for that one, but you can just think of it like you're just going all the way around. Okay. So for this one, we are going to have an answer that shows centimeters squared. So I'm just going to put that right there so I can remember. My answer would go next to this one, centimeters squared. This is also going to be centimeters squared. I'm just checking the units as I go through, because sometimes it makes sense to just check. Centimeters squared, centimeters squared. Now, even though you see 3 measurements, because it doesn't change and it's still asking for the area, we're still going to do centimeters squared. And that's the part where I will, when we get down here, we'll have to figure out which one of these is the base and which one's the height. Over here, centimeters squared as well, and then we have the same thing here, centimeters squared as well. So we don't have to worry about our units. Now we just need to solve. So for solving for area of a triangle, it is base times the height. So you're looking for the height that has a 90-degree angle, okay? And it has to come like off of like this line right here would go exactly at a 90-degree angle. So 10 times 9. Now, we also can't remember it's a triangle, so we still have to do divided by 2. Okay, so 10 times 9 is 90. And 90 divided by 2. Okay, if you don't know how to do, if you don't know what half of 90 is, you can put 90 inside your division and then go, how many times does 2 go into 9? 4 times, as close as it can, with 8 left. You use 8 with 1 left over, and then you bring down your 0. How many times does 2 go into 10? 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Exactly, we would have no leftovers. So 45 would be half of 90. So I'll put 45 centimeters squared, and I'm going to circle my answer. Okay, next. Area of this triangle. So if we're doing area of this triangle, it's base. So we're not making up the measure. We're just multiplying the base right here, which would be 4. Now the height, so we have to go from a 90-degree angle to that top point. So we would come all the way out here. You're not measuring this part. You just want to know the height from a 90-degree angle, which would get 5 centimeters. Now, again, it's a triangle, so we want half divided by 2, and that will get us to our centimeters squared. So here we go. 4 times 5, I can count by 4s or 5s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, and if I had a $20 bill and I had to share it with my husband, I would have $10. I'm just going to remind you how you do that. Okay, I always remember this to numerator goes inside or in front, and the denominator goes on the outside. So numerator. 2 goes into 2 one time, which gets us to 2. So if we multiply 1 times 2 is 2, or 10 times 2 is 20. Subtract that. 2 goes into 0, 0 times. So we have 10. There we go. Next, this one is base times height. We have our 90-degree angle. So area of a triangle equals 8 times 8. Remember, divided by 2. 8 times 8. So if I don't know my multiples and don't remember 8, that was like one of those ones for whatever reason. So that rhyme stuck with me. 8 and 8 fell on the floor, picked it up at 64. I remember that one, but I could also skip count by 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. So count that, 64. Actually, the good part about this is half of 64, so you go halfway. So if this is 8, go back to 4. Half of 8, or half of 64 is 32. 64 divided by 2 equals, 64 divided by 2 equals 32. And I will show my work by doing the same thing. So if I had 64 divided by 2, two goes into 6, or 60, 30 times, 3 in the tens place. And you always need to make sure things line up. Like sometimes kids don't understand that, adults even. You have to line up with your place value when you're doing this. So 3 times 2 is 6, which would get us to 0. How many times does 2 go into 4? Twice. 2 times 2 is 4, which gets us to 4, take away 4 is 0. 32. And we labeled our answer with centimeters squared. Okay, so this one gives you 3 measurements. They show you base, and they show you height, and they show you the length of this angle. This is to kind of mess with you. You could use this 9 if you were going to figure out the perimeter, but we are not figuring out perimeter. We are in fact figuring out area, and area is base times height. from a 90-degree angle to the top of your triangle. You're checking for this height. So we would do area of the triangle equals 10 times 7, not the 9. I'm going to cross this out because we don't need that right now. Divided by 2. Okay, equals. So here we go. 10. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 marks down here in case I don't know what 10 times 7 is. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So 70 divided by 2. Again, same thing. I would put my numerator on the inside, my denominator on the outside. How many times does 2 go into 7? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. We'd subtract that. 7 take away 6 is 1. Bring down our 0. We're going to make sure our numbers are in line. 2, 5 times 2 is 10 exactly. So that gives us 0. So our answer is 35. Next. Okay, so they mess you around, kind of. They flip this upside down here. So they make you think that this angle might be the base. The base is from where the 90-degree angle is taken from. So this is the base right here. And actually, if you say, okay, this is the base and this is the height, the answer would be the same. So you can do area of a triangle equals, so you could do 5 times 12 or 12 times 5, but you should both, you should know that both 12 times 5 and 5 times 12 are exactly the same number. So 12 times 5 divided by, because it's still a triangle and we're not using that number because it's not, there is not a 90-degree angle taken off of this. If there was, we could, if they did another measurement, we could probably figure it out either way. Either way, it would be the same. 12 divided by 5, or 12 times 5 divided by 2 equals that. So 12 times 5, count by 5 12 times, or you can count by, you multiply it out. 5 times 10 is 50, 5 times 2 is 10, so it gets us to 60. Divided by 2, and you might be able to do half of 60 in your head. But I always remind kids, for 6th grade, you can use a calculator to check your work, and you don't want to get things wrong just because you're like, oh yeah, I think, or just going too fast. 2 goes into 6 3 times, leaving none left over, and then 2 goes into 0 0 times. So our answer is 30. Next, so our base times our height. Again, they give us an extra measurement here, and they tip the triangle, so it makes you wonder, is this still, yes, it is a 90-degree angle because it's there. Our base is going to be this 8 number. You're not adding this space on. Our base times our height, which would be our 6 centimeters. So area of this triangle equals base times the height divided by 2. And so the other thing here is you can count 8 times 6, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. So 8 times 6 is 48. And then if you wanted to do half of that, which we could go back to half of 48 would be 24. So if this is 6, you'd go to 3. 1, 2, 3. Just to model again, we would take 48 You can divide it by 2. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 times 2 is 4, which gives us nothing left over. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 times 4 is 8. And we brought our 8 down, so we have nothing left over, so 24. All right. An art project requires a triangular piece of cardboard having a base measure of 10 and a height of 6. So again, base of 10, height of 6. What is the area of the cardboard? So area of the triangle equals base times height divided by 2. 10 times 6 is 60. And then we're going to take 60 and divide it by 2. So half of 60. If I wanted to do that over here, I could take 60 divided by 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 0 0 times. And don't forget, you can't just write 30. You have to write centimeters squared. Next, number 8. Brittany and Will each made a triangular sign with an area of 8 feet. The base of Brittany's triangle is half as long as the base of Will's. How do the heights of the triangles compare? So they are actually not asking for an answer here. And let me circle this because I just want to go back to this. Brittany and Will each made a triangular sign with an area of 8 feet. The base of Brittany's triangle is half as long. So if this is Will's and his is 4, and Brittany's is half, which would be 2. We're just guessing. How do the heights of the triangles compare? So if we know they're both equal to 8, if this is equal to 8 and this is equal to 8, this would be a shorter, Will's would have a shorter height and Brittany's would have a taller height to get her both to the 8. So Brittany's height would be twice as high as Will's, or higher than Will's. Will's. How do the heights of the triangles compare? Brittany's triangle would be taller. All right,